3. What is going on, you guys? Welcome to The Camera Adds 10 Pounds. I'm your host, Peter Sirs. And before we start, I want to send a shout out to one of our sponsors, Elixir CBD. They make cream and they also have wipes now, which, if you're not watching this, it's just like, when you rub stuff in lotion and stuff, sometimes you get like the residue on your hands, but they actually have wipes too that do the exact same thing. I love it, and so I advise you to try it. You can hit me up for some samples if you like, or you can just go to the website elixir.com. Use my code 10 pounds and you'll get a discount. That's awesome. Also, if you are listening on Apple Podcasts, please feel free to leave me a review, rate it, share it. Even if you don't like it, just be like, yo, Peter, you suck. And I'll be like, thanks, man. I appreciate it. I'm trying my best. But today is, I thought I'd do something a little bit different today because, one, I'll be real. I had a guest, and my guest had to cancel, which happens a lot, actually, more than you think would happen on a podcast. But I was like, you know what? I've been wanting to do another solo episode. So I was like, you know what? Since it's the new year and whatnot, I should do one so I can just kind of talk about things that I think some of you guys should or shouldn't be doing, or some things that I do. So yeah, we'll get into it, man. It's a new year, obviously, and everybody likes to set their quote unquote New Year's resolutions. And for me, I've never been a person to do New Year's resolutions because for me, I feel like resolutions are things that you should be doing or should not be doing anyway, right? Like people will say, "Oh, I'm going to start." The big one is obviously, since this is a fitness related podcast, I'm going to start working out. I'm going to get serious in my fitness January 1st. And it's like, I mean, I get it, but that's something that people should have been doing already. I'm going to start eating right. Like, yeah, you should have been doing that already. I'm going to, for comics, they're like, oh, I'm going to start going to more mics, or I'm going to start writing more. This is all kinds of different things. I'm going to spend more time with my family, whatever it is. And like I said, I think those are all things that you should already be doing. So instead of making what I call, or we all call resolutions, every year I set goals. And these are things that because I already do a lot of stuff. You guys know this. But I set goals that honestly are probably not reachable because I feel like if I just set something that I should be doing already, it's like, okay, well, now I'm doing it, and now what, but like I said, we also, say things like, I'm going to stop smoking. I'm going to stop doing cocaine or like whatever it might be. And so that's why I think New Year's resolutions are also things that you shouldn't be doing. It's kind of like for Lent too. Like the thing is, the difference is I feel like for Lent, it's not stuff that we should or shouldn't be doing. It's more like stuff that like we really enjoy doing, and that's part of like the sacrifice. And also, by the way, Lent is 40 days leading up to Easter. For those of you guys that aren't familiar with Catholicism, every year around Lent, Catholics are supposed to give up something that is like it's supposed to be something that you sacrifice. Like, so for me, usually like in previous years, like I used to eat peanut butter and jelly or peanut butter and banana sandwiches at least once a day. One, because I was poor. I mean, I'm still kind of poor, but whatever. Two, because it's just an easy, quick, fairly healthy meal if you do it right. Like a quick, like pre-workout, especially like meal, like a good snack that you can have before your workout. But it's also just super easy. Like everyone can make peanut butter and jelly and peanut butter and banana, which I love. Or if you take it a step further, like I do, I buy a very specific peanut butter. I don't know if I've talked about this on this podcast, but I enjoy. So Skippy used to make it, okay, and then they stopped making it for some odd reason. But it's a roasted honey nut peanut butter, crunchy with honey. And let me tell you, you can just taste like I like crunchy peanut butter. What kind of peanut butter are you, Paul? Crunchy?
I'm not a peanut butter guy.
Oh, at all?
At all.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
But ever since I was a little kid, I hated it.
Oh, interesting. I love peanut butter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I loved it. It's just something about the taste.
Interesting. Maybe you haven't had crunchy honey and roasted peanut butter.
Maybe, but even like Reese's Pieces, all that stuff. Nope.
Yeah, see, that's a little. I mean, that's yeah. Okay, okay, that's fair. There's actually a protein bar that I didn't bring today. That has, they're called Oh Yeah bars. They're really good. But they have like little Reese's pieces in them
Hmm.
in the protein bar, and it's fucking delicious. You're welcome. Oh Yeah. But actually, I don't. They may have been discontinued. Don't quote me on that. But anyway, so my thing was like I'm saying, for Lent, I used to give up peanut butter and jelly sandwiches because for me that was something that I did every single day, and it's not a bad habit. It's not. It's just something that So I'm making a sacrifice by giving that up. But when we talk New Year's, I specifically, like I said, want to talk about fitness goals. Like I said, you should be taking time in your day, in your life, to make time for your health and fitness anyway. But in the event that you're not, and you're listening to this podcast, like, hey, I need some ideas to get ready for this new year. That's what we're about to do right now. So for me, like I said, if you guys listen to the very first episode, which was, let's see, this is episode, I believe we're on 39 now. Um, so the very first episode of this podcast, I kind of just did the intro talking about why I started working out in the first place. I was an athlete my whole life. I played baseball. I got a Hulk Hogan workout set when I was 9 for my ninth birthday, and I started lifting weights from then on. And then I looked up to guys like Bo Jackson, and a little bit later Ken Griffey Jr., like all these athletes. And I just was always passionate about health and fitness. And then, when I was in college, I realized that I could do it as a job. And at the time, this is like, I think subconsciously, like I always wanted to get into the entertainment business, but you always, everybody knows you probably need, unless you get lucky when you're a child or something, you need some kind of job to kind of hold you steady while you're pursuing a career in the entertainment industry. So for me, I took my passion of fitness and I was like, oh, wow, that would be cool if I could be a personal trainer, because that would be something cool. For one, I mean, this is way back when, but like one of the things was like I thought to myself was, how cool would it be to tell girls that I'm a personal trainer? Like I said, this is a long time ago. Now I feel like, I don't know, if you tell a girl that you're a personal trainer now, I don't know if there's that same, I don't know. Like it's just not the same. It doesn't have the same luster because like back then it wasn't like, I mean, I started as a personal trainer in 2001. So that's what, 18 years ago. So there still wasn't, it was popular, but it wasn't like it is now. I feel like everybody knows a personal trainer now. But anyway, so I did it, and it was always something that was a part of my life, and even still to this day, fitness is still, like, as you know, very much a part of my life. But like I said, we get to this point where at the beginning of the year, especially if you go to a gym, the complaint that I always hear from people that go to the gym regularly or semi regularly is how upset they are that the gyms are more crowded in January. And it's like, well, yeah, of course. The same thing like here in LA, or I'm sure probably other big cities too. In the new year, you go to a mic and there's way more people than normal, right? And Paul's nodding his head. He's saying he's agreeing with me.
Nonverbal agreement.
Yeah, and the whole thing is you see comics complaining about it online, like, oh, we're all these New Year's resolution open micers and blah blah blah, and it's like, I mean, I get it if you're used to not having to wait around a long time to go up at an open mic, I get it, but at the same time, it's like everybody's been at that level before. Everyone had to start somewhere, and the same goes with fitness. Like some people, like myself, and some of you guys, have made health and fitness a priority, nonstop, and have not, let it go. And then some people, they just need, for some reason, that turn of the calendar and whatnot to quote unquote get serious, and it's fine. Um, Me personally, as I do go to gyms all the time. Um, Probably too much, but that's whatever. I have my own issues, and we've talked about them on this show. But I personally don't go to the gym um, when I know it's going to be busy. I try to go super early. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see sometimes I might be there like at 6 a.m. or earlier sometimes, depending on what I got going on. Or I work out like midday, somewhere between like 11 and 2, because that's when there's nobody at the gym. Even here in LA, where nobody has real jobs, that tends to be the time when nobody's there. Or if I'm on the road, I just wake up. I sleep in when I'm on the road because I don't have anywhere to be other than the comedy club. But I might wake up at 7 or 8 when I'm on the road and I go first thing. But anyway, point being, I try not to go to the gym when it's crowded. That's number one. So if you have that luxury of going to the gym super early, so here's the thing: a lot of people, most people have 9 to 5 type jobs. You or somewhere like that where you have like a set schedule, and maybe you get off at 5 or 6. And obviously, if you go to the gym after work, there's going to be a lot of people there. That's just the way it is. That's just year round, but especially in January, it's going to be crowded at that time. So, my suggestion would be, if you can, and what I mean by can is like if you don't have kids that you have to get ready or take them to school or whatever, I would wake up and go to the gym before work. 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, depending on what time you have. I know it's hard. I know it's hard, but think about this. Because I see it happen all the time. People, like I said, I'm just assuming if you work a 9 to 5 job, you go to work and maybe you don't love your job. Maybe you love it. But at the end of your workday, you're tired, right? It's very easy to, after you get off work at 5 and 6, to say, you know what? I'm just too tired. I had a horrible day at work. I'm just going to go home and not work out today. That's Monday. I'll go to the gym tomorrow. I'll stay longer, whatever it might be. I hear it all the time. And then Tuesday comes around, same thing. Pretty soon, a day becomes 2 days, becomes a week, becomes a month, and guess what happens to that New Year's quote unquote resolution? It's gone, right? This is why I tell people, if you followed me on social media, which I'm sure you might, because you wouldn't be listening to this if you didn't, but um, I'm still in the gym, in November, December, when it's thinning out. Like the last 2 weeks of December, you can go to any gym at any time, and probably there's very little people there, except with the exception of some in LA. But it's like I'm not gonna wait until January 1st to like make this magical change. I'm staying at it consistently, nonstop, so that I don't fall behind the curve. But that's just me. I'm wired different. I understand. So if you have that New Year, like I said, if you think that you might, for some reason, not feel like going to the gym after work when it's too crowded, wake up early. I'm telling you, it's one of the best things I've done for my. I wasn't always an early riser, okay? I mean, I've always been someone that woke up, 7, 8, maybe 9, depending on what time I go to bed, especially like with stand up and whatnot. But if I can, like I've been doing it still. Like I'll wake up if I have shit to do. I'm setting my alarm for 4:45, 5 o'clock. My gym opens at 6. I don't have a 24-hour gym membership anymore, so my gym opens at 6. So I'm gonna be there at fucking 6 o'clock. Okay, period. And am I a different beast? Yeah, maybe. But like the point is, I just make it a priority, and then no matter what I do throughout the rest of the day, maybe someone, because let's say I was planning on working out at 6, heaven forbid when the gym's super busy. And then someone hits me up, hey man, I got a spot for you tonight. Can you come down to this place and do a spot at 8? Well, now I can't work out because I'm not going to have time if I'm going to work out at 6. So I just get it over with, man. Just get up, get it over with. I think if you guys listen to one of the episodes that I had with my buddy Eric Rivera, he is, full-time comic. He's got a lot of cool stuff going on. He's got 2 kids, and his wife has a traditional 9 to 5 job. So he wakes up, does his running super early in the morning, and you can see him if you follow him on social media, 5 or 6, and he's doing his run, and then he's done by the time he has to help, get his kids ready to take. I think one of them is in school, one of them's not, and that's it. I'm always like, hey, you want to meet me at the gym? He's like, oh, I have my kids, I can't. I already got my run in, and that's what works for him. And then when his wife comes and she's got her Peloton and whatever, and yeah, a Peloton's more expensive, but you don't have to get a Peloton. You can go for walks around. And this is what I wanted to get into too. We've kind of touched on it on some of the podcasts, but you don't have to be a gym person. Getting in shape, taking care, getting your workout in doesn't necessarily mean go to an actual gym. I myself, as a guy with testosterone, with issues, it helps me with it becomes therapeutic for me to lift heavy things and to slam ropes and to slam medicine balls and whatnot. I love those types of workouts. Okay, but I also recognize that I I don't know if I like. I still don't. I run often enough that you would say that you would think that I like running, but I still don't necessarily think that I like running. I just think that it's more fun for me to go outside and run through my neighborhood or run around the streets of LA than it is to, hop on a treadmill and just, I'm running in the same spot for 30 or 40 minutes. Like it's just easier to go out and be one with nature. You got the sun coming down. So that could be fitness. You could buy a bike, like a 10 speed or a mountain bike or something. You can go say I don't even do mountain biking, but you could do that. And that might cost $100, $200 if you want to get super fancy, like you probably get into the thousands. But if you like biking, get a bike. That could be your fitness. If you like roller skating, get a pair of skates. I remember this is a couple years ago, but my girlfriend was begging me for rollerblades because she wanted to rollerblade around town. Ask me how many times she's used those fucking rollerblades I got her. Fucking once. Well, maybe twice, but that was it. But I mean, the thing is like, if if you live by a beach, let's say, what a great thing to do. Especially if you live in California, you go to the beach, get some rollerblades, and you just ride up and down, the boardwalk. Like that's exercise. Um, I don't know the exact numbers, but I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty confident that rollerblading, or I guess it could be roller skating as well, um, it's up there with cardio activities that burn the most calories. I don't know. I mean, boxing and like high intensity, like some kind of like sprint intervals would probably be up there too. But rollerblading is definitely up there. I probably should have done more research before doing this, but I'm just trying to give you guys other options. Um, Maybe you like going outdoors. Maybe you like hiking. Maybe you like swimming. Maybe you have a pool, or maybe you live somewhere where you could go to a community pool. Like these things don't have to cost a lot of money. I'm just throwing options out there. Maybe you like, dancing. We had one of the girls on here that was talking about her and her friend. They just go dancing for a few hours and they enjoy doing that. And there's so many different things. It doesn't have to necessarily be going to an actual gym. The thing I like about the gym is that it has, like the gym I go to just has so many different things. And you know what the thing is I have all this shit at my house. With the exception of like super heavy dumbbells, at my house alone, I've got Bosu ball. If you don't know what a Bosu ball is, it's a half ball with a flat surface, so you could do all kinds of exercises. I have rubber bands. I've got sleds. I have parachutes that I could strap on and run and provide resistance. I have cones and hurdles and regular stability balls, and we have light dumbbells. I've got TRX. I have cables. I've got boxing gloves, mitts. God, I have so many things. I'm gonna get a rope. Don't tell my girlfriend because she doesn't want me to get one because we have so much. We have a closet just full of exercise equipment. So I hardly use the stuff that I have because there's just something for me, like I said, for me, about going to an actual gym. I just like it. I like, I don't socialize at the gym at all. Like, I don't, unless I happen to run into somebody that I'm really excited about seeing. Um, I don't. I'm not the kind that like, oh, hey, how you doing? Oh, looking good. But I don't talk to anybody at my gym. And some people think I'm an asshole, but it's like I'm not there to socialize, man. I'm just there to work, you know? Um, anyway, point being is there's a million different things you can do. If you don't know what to do, okay? In the event you don't have the knowledge, like myself, to know what to do, there's this thing. It's called Google.com. And you can Google things. You can go to YouTube. If you went to YouTube and just typed in, I don't know, home workout or track workout or any type of thing, you're gonna find hundreds, if not thousands, of examples. And you can go on my YouTube. Literally, most of my YouTube stuff is comedy and vlogs and whatnot. But if you go on there, there's also things of me just being in a random, like, because I get bored when I go to different cities, and obviously I spend a lot of time in the gym, but I make videos a lot of times when I go to a certain city, and I put those together, and I'm like, okay, here you go with this workout. There's so many things you can do. Hire a personal trainer. If you don't have the money to hire a personal trainer, go on an app. Okay, I recommend the Nike app. It's called Nike Training Club, I believe. I'm gonna look it up right now. Nike Training Club, right? Yep, NTC. Download the app, and there's all kinds of workouts on there, from yoga to hit training to stuff with ropes, like I like doing kettlebells. There's flexibility. There's stretching. There's little cardio things that you could literally do in your living room. You don't need to go anywhere. So there's no excuse, man. There just isn't. Like I know, and people, it's like, oh, it's, you can say that because you don't have kids and this and that, but it's like, no, dude. But like, I have. I'm not trying to get on my high horse, but I have basically 3 jobs. Okay, so yeah, I don't have kids, but I got 3 jobs, man. Comedian, as much as people don't want to think about it, is a job. I have to work, I have to go and write, come up with new things or talk into my notes, and that's part of my writing process. Or I'm emailing comedy club bookers, I'm emailing venues to run my own show, I'm reaching out to people here in town um, to do their. I mean, there's just constant things. What are some other things that comedians do, Paul, that are part of our work day, let's say, that just specifically like comedy things?
I mean, like, there's just look at the whole marketing aspect too,
Marketing,
where
yeah,
you're just
that's huge. Social media,
sending emails, social media,
yeah,
interactions, making connections, networking,
yeah,
and that's not on top of the writing and the,
right.
you know,
That's on top. Like, so, social media is a big thing because, I mean, it's weird. Like, you have like a guy like Chappelle who I think has a Twitter but not an Instagram, but
yeah,
is not really on there.
yeah, he doesn't need any of that.
Yeah, he doesn't need it, but he's at that level. I mean, he's one of the greats, one of the all-time greats. But if you're at, like, my level or even above me or below me, like, how else do you promote?
Exactly.
Yeah, you have to. You have to, make funny videos or post something to tell people where you're gonna be, or yeah.
And post things that are going to tell people where you're going to be that don't get 5 likes.
Well, I mean, that's
You
just
know,
another thing.
you have to be so strategic with what you post.
Yeah, I feel like at a certain point, because I'm experienced. I mean, I've been experiencing this now, where like I've only been in comedy for 7 years, but like I've had so many shows where I post like, hey, this is a big one, this is an exciting one, that people are just like, yeah, okay, whatever,
Yeah.
and that's fine, because as you go along, there's only going to be so many shows that like the people that you actually personally know are going to come to, right? What you hope is
Yeah.
that when you do a show somewhere, you pick up a fan or two or three or four, whatever, right? And then those people follow you, and then you post about your next show so that some of those people will come, and you got to hopefully keep growing your following,
Yeah.
right?
I do really well with getting strangers to come to shows.
Yeah,
Yeah, way more than like friends.
like through targeting or just
Through email lists and just kind
okay,
of building my reach around like on Facebook and stuff like that. Like,
okay,
posting in different groups and, if you get 30 random people to come to your show that are like, oh yeah, I saw,
yeah,
I mean, my last show was packed out and we asked, how many of you have been to this show before? And there was only 2 people in the audience that had been there before.
really.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So you go, okay, so you have utilized like Facebook groups.
Facebook groups and also like, yeah, just targeting groups that are specific to the city that you're throwing the show in.
Okay,
So like one of my big shows is in Covina.
right,
So I'm on, all the Covina pages, like,
smart.
and I don't frame it like it's a ad.
Uh-huh.
Like I don't be like, hey, this Thursday or whatever is my show. It's more like I'll post something like, yo, like, hey, I'm so grateful for the community, blah blah blah. Just so you guys know, I have a show coming up, like in the city. Like if you guys would show up, that'd be really dope. Like kind of making it personalized,
Yeah, yeah,
and people respond to that a lot better.
that's awesome. Yeah, but that's part like that's okay. So perfect example. I'm glad you brought that up, Paul. Uh, you're not getting paid to post that ad,
Yeah, not at all.
but in a, indirectly or directly, because it will result in people showing up. It's part of our job,
Hmm.
So it's like comedy is it's a full-time job, like yes, there are people that are hobby, I guess, comics. They do it for fun and they go to a mic here and there and whatever, but like if you're pursuing this as a career, which we are, there's a lot of behind the scenes work that goes on. Like this is something that I do. If you're an aspiring comedian out there, listen up for this one because I do this all the time. Like you follow other comedians on social media, and for me, like I have a Rolodex of like an actual physical, 30-day calendar with like the old school like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Like I'm making I'm signing this out with my hands, along with my actual day planner, my personal plan. Anyway, I'll go through Arizona, and then I submit to those clubs. Arizona, boom. Alabama, boom. There's only like 2 clubs in Alabama. Arkansas, like everywhere that and I cycle them and I email them on a certain day of the week, and then I have a note when I emailed them, and then within a month I have that follow up and so forth. But what I was talking about with comedians is sometimes there are little clubs or little rooms that like maybe I've never heard of, but I'll see a comic post like, "Hey, I'm going to be at like you know that club? It's in like I'm going to mess up the pronunciation, but like I think it's called Worcester, and it's
Oh yeah, the brouhaha.
hoo ha ha,
Yeah, yeah,
right? It's like in Massachusetts somewhere.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's a fairly new club,
Yeah.
but I remember seeing somebody post about it, and this is a club that I didn't even know existed because there's always clubs opening up or rooms or whatever, and so I was like, oh okay, and then I went because I saw this comedian post about gonna be there, and then I emailed, and that club is now on at least my email list. I'm not working there yet,
Yeah.
but
And it's one of those East pronunciation. It's Worcester.
see, I knew it because I
Yeah.
heard someone pronounce it the other day that was going to be there. Who the fuck was it? Anyway, so how do you pronounce it?
Worcester.
But it's spelled like
Worcester.
it is, right? Okay,
Yeah,
that's what I
but it's
thought. Yeah, yeah.
Worcester,
Okay,
which is
Worcester.
a British pronunciation.
Okay, that makes sense.
Like it's not Leicester, it's Leicester.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know,
See,
it's crazy.
like Edinburgh. Edinburgh
Yeah,
is
it's Edinburgh.
yeah. I don't get it. But that's the thing. So like, but for me, that's part of my job is knowing where these places are so that I could reach out to them. Oh, who books that? Oh, this people book. That's how I got with Funny Business, the one of the booking agencies that I work with. Shout out to the Wabmas that work at Funny Business. But I was just doing research on my own, looking at clubs that I wanted to work, and then I would email clubs, and then a few of them would email me back, "Oh, we book through Funny Business." So I was like, "Fuck, I got to get in with this company," and I would submit, and they would say, "Yeah, no thanks." I would submit. I submitted at least 3 times and got rejected. And then I was lucky enough to have another comic that I ended up working with on the road at another gig ask me if I was repped by them, and I said no. They denied me. He says, "Let me email them. They love me." Shout out to Mike Stanley. I'll say his name because if he doesn't know you, he's not going to refer you anyway. I feel like when comics hear people name drop, then everyone hits them up. Like, oh, I got to fucking hit this guy up. So, but if you don't know him. But anyway, all he did was send an email that vouched for me, and then I got to work with this company, Funny Business, and they book a lot of stuff that I end up working. So, and the point being, that's one job. Okay. For me, podcasting is another job because, as you guys know, same thing. We have to promote the podcast. We have to, like, I am in some other groups, but for the same reason of like, okay, I'll post a link to the podcast on there. Like, and I'm more of the opposite, not like, hey, I'm so grateful. I'm like, hey, listen to my podcast. I'm a part of this group. So maybe I should do it another way.
Well,
But
it depends who you're talking to too.
for sure,
If you're
totally.
talking to normies, like regular citizens, then you want to be more like that. If you're talking to comics, you got to be a little bit more direct because they can see through the bullshit.
Right, of course. Yeah, I don't post. You know how like like there's like there's like the LA comedians page on Facebook and the OC comedians page, and like people promote their shows on the page, and
Yeah, it
it's like
doesn't make any sense.
it makes zero sense to me. Like, hey, all you comics, come to this show that you're not on. Like,
Yeah.
no, I've never seen one of those posts. Like, oh yeah, I'm totally gonna come. There's like a handful. I mean, I will say this though, and you could test because you run rooms now. Like, as a comic, if you want to get on a show, it is advisable to go to that show and be like, hey man, this is a cool show. I just came out to support. If you ever need anybody, like kind of like that, but like actually just showing your face and supporting the room initially
Yeah.
is probably a good bet.
Yeah, like 95% of the comics that have come support my room, I've booked
Yeah.
them on future shows. And the only reason I haven't booked the other 5% is because it just didn't work out with scheduling.
Yeah.
And also, that's a way, I mean, that's a good way to get like your first paid spot.
Yeah.
Because I do paid spots.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I probably have 15 or 20 comics who they've gotten their first paid spot through me, and it was all through hanging out. So,
See, networking.
yeah,
It's
networking.
it's a real thing, guys. Networking. But that's part of our job, and that's something that like, you know, I don't go to like. I'm just trying to explain that I have 3 full-time jobs, even though people that have like manual labor jobs don't want to think of what I do as work. It's a lot of legwork, a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that people don't see. With podcasting specifically, like I'm I'm DMing so many people that I've never met before to try to get, people that maybe don't necessarily know who I am, that maybe follow this person to want to listen to the podcast because this person is on. And then in the process, they're like, oh, I like this guy. I'll follow him. Like, that's how you grow the podcast. And it's worked okay. Like, I mean, I don't have the #1 podcast, but my podcast is actually doing way better than I thought it was. So that's cool. But that's because I think that I brought some people in that like had audiences, you know? But like the amount of people that I've had, this is episode, like I said, 39. I don't know how many actual guests I've had, 30 plus probably. I've had some repeat people. But I've actually messaged a lot of people that are like famous or like a lot bigger than I am that have never responded. And, a lot of them don't check their DMs or, whatever it might be, or some actually have checked them. They just didn't respond to my message, and that's fine too. But that's part of my work. And same thing, promoting the podcast, just like other people promote, shows and whatnot. And the same thing with going to shows. It's like I only have so many people that I know that I know personally that will continue to come to shows no matter what city I'm in. And the same thing, like I only have so many people that I know that are going to listen to the podcast. I have to keep figuring out other ways to get other people to listen. And then I still train, so I mean that's another job as well. So I mean I got 3 jobs, man. So, but I make the time to work out because it's important to me. And yeah, part of it is vanity. I want to look a certain way. One of the things I noticed. Have you seen the picture that's circulating of Kumail
Yeah, Nanjiani.
Nanjiani?
Ridiculous.
He's jacked,
It's crazy.
but like
Still got a goofy face though.
yeah, for sure. But like because he's going to be in a Marvel movie, right? Or DC?
Yeah. DC.
DC.
Yeah.
Okay. He's a comedian. He's Harold and Kumar. You guys all know him. But he just posted a picture because he's been training for this movie, and he looks amazing. But because comedians, for whatever reason,
He wasn't Harold and Kumar.
huh?
He wasn't in
Wait,
Harold and Kumar.
who the fuck is in Harold and Kumar? Oh,
That's
I'm fucking racist as fuck right now.
That's what's his face, the one that worked for Obama.
Yes. Oh my God. What an
Yeah.
asshole I am.
Yeah, you almost slipped that by everybody.
Oh
Hold on.
God. Yeah, he's not in here. Why the fuck? Oh, what an. Hey guys, I'm racist. Wait, what the fuck was he? Oh, I mean, I know he was in The Big Sick, but what's he been in before?
Cal Penn was in Harold and Kumar.
Cal Penn. That's right. Cal
He
Penn.
was in like I'm trying to think of it.
Because I mean, he was a comedian, or he is a comedian.
Yeah, he did that show with Jonah Ray, which was Nerd Melt. Was that the show?
Yes.
Yeah, with so he did that, and then he kind of blew up on like the indie comedy
Yeah,
circuit.
yeah.
And then he got in with
Judd Apatow.
it was one of them.
Amy Schumer, one of those.
He popped
Yeah.
from something.
Anyway, the point being is he's posted this picture of himself shirtless. and
Oh, Silicon Valley. That's what it was.
Silicon Valley. God damn it! Thank you. Shout out to Silicon Valley. Um, but it's weird because because I'm friends with so many comedians online. Like a lot of people are just like poking fun, and it's like, well, like you guys could look like that too if you wanted to. Why make fun of him? He got a movie part. Like I don't know. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, he's still like, trying to be like, I'm that guy. He's like, I never thought I'd be that guy, but now I'm that guy.
Yeah,
So I mean, I feel weird about it, but it's also like,
but like to the point where you'd make fun of him.
no, I wouldn't make fun. I mean,
Yeah,
the dude put in work.
yeah, exactly.
He's like Goofy or Chris Pratt.
Well, Chris Pratt used to be a chubby too.
That's what I'm
I used to
saying.
see him at the gym all the time. But like, you know what's funny is that I would see him at the gym before he was who he is now, and he was a little soft, but he had like a good-looking face, and the girls loved him because he was just super nice and friendly.
Yeah.
And he was with what's her name, Anna Faris.
Anna Faris, yeah.
And then he got apart, and then he fucking transformed his body.
Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy, right?
Yeah, now he's a leading man.
Well, he was, or with
He was
Kumail. This is the difference, though. I think because I feel like it's kind of easier for like a big guy to just like make the transition into fit
Uh-huh.
than like a super skinny twig guy.
For sure.
And that's what Kumail was. He was like a twig.
Well, I saw somebody posted a picture. We're getting off topic, but it's okay. Somebody posted a picture of him in like a jacuzzi with Natasha Leggero and Moshe Kasher and somebody else.
Yeah, she used to have that show. It was called Tubbin with Tosh.
Oh, there you go. And
Comedy Central.
and he's kind of tubby in that picture.
Yeah.
So like he just Paul's right. Like if you're bigger, it's easier to turn that into muscle.
Mhm.
And maybe he had some assistance with getting the body that he has. I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Yeah, he said personal trainer and nutritionist.
For sure.
That the studio paid for. So.
And there you go. And so okay, so that's a perfect example. Okay, that I think like a lot of people like to use that as like, oh well, it's okay for J-Lo to look this way because she's got the money to have a personal trainer and a this and a that and a nutrition, and it's true, like 100% true, but you don't need money to be more active. You can just do it. You can be poor as shit. I mean, perfect example, when I used to work at 24 Hour Fitness, we had homeless people that had gym memberships. They used it to shower, but like they still had gym memberships and they would work out sometimes. But a lot of these things are free. You don't need to be rich to eat well. It's easier, more convenient. But so yeah, he had the studio pay for it, but he still had to put in the work. He could have easily been like, no, I don't want to do it.
Yeah, plus I'm sure that DC money is nice.
I mean, I would love to find out one day. DC or Marvel, I'm not discriminating.
Although, do you want the nerd fact of the day?
Yeah, sure.
Where he said something about like his transformation. He was like, like with great power comes great responsibility, which is a Marvel quote.
Yeah. That's funny.
So that was all controversial.
People are all pissed off.
Yeah. They're like, "There's a Marvel quote. You're in a DC show."
Who's special? I was just watching a special, a female. I don't know if it was Eliza's or not, but she makes a joke about getting Marvel and DC mixed up, and it's a really good joke. But I don't remember if it was her or not. So, who are some girls that had specials drop recently?
Oh man, Nikki Glazer, Catherine Ryan, Eliza.
It definitely wasn't Nikki Glazer.
Michelle Wolf.
Oh yeah, wait. I think it was Michelle Wolf.
Okay.
I watched that, which is also shout out to Michelle Wolf. Great special. I enjoyed it. She's really funny. But anyway, I'm getting off track here. Thank you for your for helping, Paul. Okay, so this is what I'm going to tell you guys. Okay, I've set out some guidelines. It doesn't need to be in a gym if you don't like a gym. But if you find an activity that you like, whatever that might be, do that activity, whatever it is. As long as you're moving, you're going to burn calories, okay? Do some activities burn more than others? Absolutely. But if your problem is just getting the motivation to do something active, find something that you like doing. There's got to be something that you like doing that's physical. What do you like doing, Paul?
Basketball.
Basketball. Boom. Basketball, we talked about that a few podcasts ago, but just getting your friends. And I don't know about you guys. I grew up in the hood. Paul, same thing. Grew up. Well, you grew up in Pomona. I'm just assuming it's
Yeah,
kind of hood.
yeah. I mean, I grew up in the nice part,
Okay, okay. Fuck you, Paul.
the Phillips Ranch, Diamond Bar area.
That's not Pomona.
It's still Pomona. There's Pomona on my mail.
Did you wait? What high school did you go to?
Diamond Ranch.
Oh yeah. See, Paul likes to lead. He's like he's like the fucking black dude on 8 Mile that talks about he grew up in the.
Nah, dude, I'm like Chappelle.
Oh yeah.
That's
Yeah,
what
yeah.
Chappelle was talking about.
Yeah, for
He's
sure.
like, everybody just assumed I grew up in the hood. He's like,
Right.
I just never corrected them.
Yeah, that's fair. But what was I saying? What was I? Oh, folks. So playing basketball. Okay, perfect. Probably more of a no. Actually, no. Basketball is probably is hard. It's a but you get a group of friends. If you don't have any friends, go to a local park that has a basketball court and be like, "Hey, I got next" or whatever. But you could probably gather some people. Like I don't think like if I had a group of friends. I mean, I do have friends, but like if we were in a group text and I got a group text that hey, we're getting together at this place and playing basketball, I would be all for it. You know, because for me, that's easily 45 minutes to an hour to 2 hours of just hanging out with my friends, but like getting activity and it doesn't seem like I talked about how I don't like running, but I do it. Same thing. Like I would much rather hang out with some of my buddies, play basketball for a couple hours, burn a shitload of calories, right? And not think about it because it's fun. It's a game,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
You could put 5 hours into it.
Easily, you
Mhm.
know. And same thing. I mean, that's why, like, you know, I play baseball on Sundays, which isn't the toughest workout. And obviously, baseball players' bodies don't necessarily reflect fitness. But you know, I've worn like my Fitbit and whatnot playing baseball, and over the course of a game, I'm still burning like 1,000 calories because I get after it. Like I'm running and I'm stealing bases and whatever. But like that's fun for me. And I don't even think about that as working out, but it's physical activity. I've talked on this podcast about walking. You know, I'm lucky enough now that we live in a neighborhood where I can walk everywhere. But if you look at like my stats at the end of the day, I don't really worry about steps per se. Um, but you know, everyone's like, oh, I got to get 10,000 steps in. Well, here you go. Go for a walk. You know, on your break instead of sitting down and looking at your phone for an hour. You know, l- put your earphones on, download the Camera Adds 10 Pounds podcast and listen to me talk while you go for a walk for a half an hour. I listen to so many podcasts now, and it's because I walk everywhere. I walk to the gym. I walk to the grocery store. I walk to eating. You know, the other day, we saw like a little concert, and we went to dinner, and we walked a grand total of like 4 miles just in like our night outing. But like, you know, like I said, I'm fortunate enough to live in a place that we could walk. But like, you could just walk around the block a few times, whether you live in a nice neighborhood or not. You know, and then before you know it, you've burned an extra 100, 200, 300, 400 calories maybe just by adding a walk, parking farther, you know, when you go somewhere if you happen to be driving. This is what bothers me. Just really quick, like, I see people at the gym and they drive around the fucking gym looking for a parking space close to the front, and I'm like, you're at the gym. Like you drove to the gym, which is, I mean, like I said, number one, probably should have just walked to the gym, burn some extra calories, or jog to the gym for that matter. But now you're driving around looking for a closer parking space when you could have parked super far or just farther and walked, you know, heaven forbid, 200 feet. You know, I'm just saying. Find things that you like. Basketball, like Paul said. I've talked about boxing on this. I couldn't believe what happened the first time I went to that hot yoga class that I talked about when I had her on the podcast. My favorite yoga instructor, Ari. You know, as I got older, I realized that yoga was probably going to be a benefit. You know, something beneficial for me, but I hated it. And then I discovered this great studio here in LA that does hip hop, or they do yoga, hot yoga, and they do it to hip hop music. And I'm like, oh, I could get behind that, and it's great. Like they play dope. If you guys know me, you know I love music. So now it doesn't seem like it's not like super chanty where they're going like hum and whatever. Like because I feel like that's what people think about when they think about yoga. We're sitting here listening to fucking Schoolboy Q and Drake and Kanye and doing yoga poses like, and the time goes by so fast, and by the time I'm done, I've burned 400, 500 calories. You don't want to go to a yoga studio? That's fine. There's yoga apps you can download for free. You could go, like I said, you can go on YouTube. YouTube is like one of the, I think, like, if you want to learn how to do not just fitness stuff, but anything, you can go on YouTube and just type in whatever it is you want to learn. You know, how to do social media marketing, how to sell out a show, or how to, you know, how to train for a marathon. Heaven forbid, because I just thought about it because I'm doing a half marathon in a couple. I set that for myself. We talked about setting goals. Uh, so that's what I'll say. I'll just say, like, if you can take away anything from this, um, find something that you enjoy doing. You know, get somebody to hold you accountable, a friend that you could go and do some of these things with, or 3 friends, or 4, or set up a challenge with your friends at work. Like, hey, let's see who could lose the most weight, or gain the most muscle, or just go to the gym, you know, a certain amount of times, or not to go to, I know I said it doesn't have to be the gym, but just like just exercise this many times per month and build that habit, man. But you got to make it a priority, and you can't make excuses. And I know it's cliche, no excuses, blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, that's what it is. People make a lot of excuses. So at the end of the day, if you want to make it a priority, you do it. You figure out a way to make it fun for yourself, to find the time and just get it over with, and then not have to worry about it. And I promise you, you will feel better on a daily basis as you start to move more. You will look better. You will have more energy. You will fit into your clothes a little bit easier. And then it will be easier to maintain that goal, not resolution, that you set for yourself, because you're doing things that you like doing. Then, you know, if you're doing something that you like doing for X amount of time, a month or two, and you notice that maybe you're not losing weight anymore, then we could start thinking about ways to change it up a little bit. And then that's when you can contact me, or just do some more YouTube work or Google work and find something else that you might enjoy doing. There's a million things. It doesn't have to be actually going to a gym. Okay? We didn't even get into like eating right and stuff, um, but that's also very important. Um, my biggest advice to you guys is same thing: Google, YouTube, um, healthy recipes for whatever. You know, people think of eating right as eating kale and eating lettuce and whatever, and it's like, dude, I hate kale. I don't like. It's not even like I just don't like it. But I make sure I get vegetables and fruits and all those things. Like, I make sure I eat right. And I'm not the best cook. We've talked about. I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast. I can only cook a handful of things, but I will say this: lucky enough, I have a very white girlfriend, who loves like going on Pinterest and herself like Googling recipes for like healthy. I don't know. She makes like a chili thing that has like quinoa and chicken and whatever, or like, you know, we make pasta without the noodles. Um, it's something that I do. I'm not telling you guys to do it, but like the noodles and pasta, nothing wrong with carbs, but some people do have too many carbs. Everybody's body is different. But as I've gotten older, I just learned that the best thing for me is to limit the amount of carbs. I don't do no carbs, I just limit the amount. So, like with pasta, for example, super easy. I could make it, but instead of using noodles, and I don't like spaghetti squash either, which, if you guys eat spaghetti squash, more power to you. Have you ever had spaghetti squash?
I'm not a fan.
It's gross. It's
Yeah.
not gross. It just doesn't taste like anything.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't love it, but I don't hate it either. But we will buy other types of squash, yellow squash, zucchini, and stuff like that. There's also a butternut squash, I think is the thing, right? And we'll chop it up, and then we'll make the pasta, like the ground turkey. I use ground turkey pasta sauce, and then put it on top of the zucchini, and so it gives it like a texture, but it's not adding all the carbs. And that's a healthy alternative. Same thing we do, like instead of making tacos, I take out the tortilla, which I know is blasphemous, but we just make like we'll make some kind of like taco meat with like a black beans and a healthy version of, like, there's ways you can do it. It just takes a little bit more work to research some of these recipes, but you know, it doesn't you don't have to be a gourmet chef. You know, you can just find a recipe that's healthy and just make it a habit. Make it a habit of eating a healthy breakfast. A lot of people don't eat breakfast in the morning. Be honest with me, Paul. Do you eat breakfast?
Hardly.
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
not good.
Yeah. By the way, I do have a contribution for you.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Uh, go on Reddit.
Yeah, Reddit,
And
exactly.
there's a subreddit called Eat Cheap and Healthy.
Oh no shit.
Yeah, which is literally recipes on how to eat cheap and healthy that are like amazing recipes.
No shit.
Yeah.
Can we
and-
put that in the show notes?
Yeah, we could do that.
Sweet. There you go. Look in the show notes. What's it? It's on Reddit.
Yeah, so it's like reddit.com/r/eat cheap and healthy.
Perfect. Yeah, because that's the argument is that people are like, oh, it's too expensive to eat healthy. And it's like, we all spend our money on things. I guarantee you, I don't care how much or little money that you make, you're spending that money on something, whether it be, a couple beers on the weekend, whether it be a new pair of Yeezys or fancy, I don't know. Like you're going to spend your money on something. But here we go. Paul just offered it up. We have things. I mean, you can Google it. If you don't go to the Reddit thing, you can Google cheap recipes. I've seen articles in like Muscle and Fitness magazine and Men's Health that are like, okay, eating on a budget, and it's like you can still do it. You just have to do your research. But the thing is, I think people just want it easy. I know. I've been quoting Gary Vee quite a bit on this podcast, which I love Gary Vee. But his thing is like, everybody knows that the secret to weight loss or just health and fitness is move more, eat less. And that's it. Work out more, eat less. And that's the end of the conversation. That's it. You could just stop it right there. People want, like, he talks about like how everyone wants to do like apple cider and vinegar and all this shit. And it's just like, no, like people do that because they want something quick. It's not quick. It's not a fad. My health and fitness is not something that I'm doing short term. It's something that I want to do for the rest of my life until I die. And hopefully, honestly, I'm trying to do it to get to the point where we get to a technology where I won't die. I can just stay alive forever. But I got to stay alive in order to live that out until that happens. And it may never happen, but like I'm just saying, you never know. Technology's changing. So I encourage everybody in this new year to, make it a priority. If I can do it with my lifestyle, juggling jobs and traveling on the road and doing all these things, I know you guys can do it, and I want you guys to do it. I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to get on my high horse. I'm trying to bring people onto the show that can share what they do, because, yeah, you can hear it from me, but if you hear it from other people, I feel like that helps you guys. So yeah, I'm going to be touring the fucking country this year, more so than I did this past year, and it's going to be a lot harder for me to get it in. But I guarantee you, no matter what city I'm going to be in, you're going to see me at the gym, even after a 5 or 6 hour drive, and I'm still going to take care of it because it's important to me. It would be impossible for me to maintain this lifestyle if I didn't take care of myself. I can't speak for everybody, as a comic, but for me, at my age, if I didn't take care of myself, it would be very hard to continue to do it with the kind of energy that I, expend, putting into, this podcast, to booking shows, to all these things. So it's a new year. It's fucking 2020, which is crazy. I thought we'd have flying cars by now, but we don't. Whatever, man. I just wish everyone luck. I want, if you guys have fitness goals, post them on social media, share them with the world. And that way you can look back and be like, okay, well, I fucking posted it on there. I want to post all my goals for this year. I already did by the time you guys hear this. And it's just something that I'm going to do, man. It helps you with accountability. Accountability is big, but I know you guys can all do it, whether, like I said, whether you're trying to lose weight or gain muscle or just be healthier so you have more energy. There's definitely a way. I hope this podcast helps you. I hope the podcast in general helps you. But, if you can either pick up a book or download an app, just do whatever it takes because I want everyone to live their best lives. It's very important to myself, but it's important that you guys do that too. So thank you guys so much for listening. Happy New Year. Go to my website, www.petersers.com, to see when I'm going to be in your town. And that'll be that, guys. Thanks for listening, and you guys have been awesome. Have a good day.